Hello and welcome to another Retrocore's hardware review, and today we're taking a look at the Miyoo Flip from McD. Now what do you get inside this box? Well, you get this little carrying pouch, and in here we have the machine and some accessories. Now obviously I've taken the machine out, but let's take a look at the accessories. So what do we get? We get a USB A to C cable. We got a micro SD card adapter here, so you can plug it into your PC without any issues. We also get a micro SD card, which is now in the machine, and also the manual. And over in this side we have a glass screen protector. And here's the actual device. Now taking a look at this one, it's probably not the best color out there. It's kind of like an off-white, it's kind of a yellowy color. But let's not let that distract us, because it does come in many different colors. So as you can see, it is a Game Boy SP style design, and it does have a very nice hinge on it. As you can hear, it clicks into position. Very nice indeed. And it's also not very flimsy, so it does stay where you put it. Good to see that. We've got our standard face buttons here. We've got a menu button, start and select, and two analog sticks, which work pretty well. On the side we've got our micro SD card slot, our power switch. We'll just press that in there to start it up. On the back we've got our L and R triggers, plus a HDMI out and another USB-C input. Now this one is actually for connecting an extra controller, while the one on the bottom is for charging the device, along with the headphone jack. And on this side we've got, let's see, another micro SD card slot and the volume rocker. So yeah, this thing is really spec'd up. So let's take a look at the operating system. So as always with a new machine, we're going to take a look at the stock firmware, so you can get to see what it's like out of the box. So here you can see we've got our recents, our favorites, games, RetroArch is accessible there. We've got apps and settings. Going into the settings, we've got our usual selection of options, plus it does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities, and you can also adjust the color of the screen, which is nice to see. You don't normally get to see that. And we also got some calibration here for our sticks, and to prove that they are analog, if you see I just move it slightly, yep, they are proper analog sticks, not digital sticks made to look like analog sticks. They're proper analog sticks. Both of them are, as you can clearly see. Alright, and as you can see here, they are both perfectly centered, so no stick drift. Also nice to see that. Okay, we can also remap the keys if we wish, add turbo buttons, and of course change the background volume of the menu system. It does come with a couple of themes built in, but we're sticking with the default. Emulation Station is also accessible from here, so you can boot up into Emulation Station or this front end. The choice is yours. Alright, going into device info, you can have a quick look. The model name is MY355, and there's the version of it there, and the CPU and memory. As you can see, the SD card is got 55 gigabytes. It's actually 55 gigabytes used up. It's a 58 gigabyte card, so in other words a 64 gigabyte card is what they've put in here. SD card 2 is unmounted. You can go into the website, and in the website you should be able to download various different firmwares and so on. Okay. Also we've got a hardware test, so we can test out that all the buttons are working. This does come with a vibration motor built in, so you can also check out your vibrations to make sure they are all working. To get out, we just press menu and A. Okay. Right, so let's take a look at some of the games. Now first I'm going to go into the app section. The app section is quite interesting. Not only can you get into RetroArch, but it does actually have some games in here, and some pretty interesting games as well. Sonic Mania, for example, and it runs quite nice. As you can see, the 3D background is working very nicely indeed. And if we go into the game, you'll see that it runs perfectly fine. Now to get out of the games is fairly easy. Normally just press the menu button, or in this game's case, start and select down at the bottom. We even got Half-Life in here. How do you think Half-Life will run on this? Well, surprisingly, very, very smoothly. It's all got Chinese subtitles here, but the English menu is still there. So let's just get into the actual game. Oops, oh, I've gone into the console. Get out of that. Oh, it's in Chinese. Yeah. I was going to say, because it takes forever to get into the actual game on Half-Life, we're not actually going to wait that long. But at least you can see from this opening intro that it does run very, very smoothly. Look at that. That's very nice. Let me just turn off the lights so we can get a little bit of a better image there. Because this game is a little bit dark. But yeah, and it's fully controllable with the analog sticks. I'm using the analog stick down here. And this one moves your left and right. And as you can see, it is super smooth, silky smooth. Okay, let's just get out of that. And show you that we even have Wipeout on this thing. How is Wipeout going to run? Well, again, surprisingly good. So let's just quickly get into it. Now I think this also has analog controls. Let me check. No, it's digital. Okay, this is digital only. But as you can see, that is running very nice. Okay, let's just get out of that. So you can see that this device does have a nice bit of grunt to it. Not bad at all. Okay, let's get out of there and go into the actual game section. And you can see that the machine is fully packed with emulators, although not all emulators have games available to play. Now, one thing I do like about this is the way the Game Boy games have a nice filter on them. Makes them look really, really good, as if you are playing on a real Game Boy. Let's go with something that has nice graphics. Let's see. Okay, we'll go with Lawnmower Man. That's got some pretty decent graphics in it. And I'll give you an idea of how good the screen looks. Okay. So I hope you can see that. It actually looks like dot matrix. In fact, I'm going to zoom in a bit more so you can get a better look at it. Now hopefully that's coming across where you can see the actual dot matrix display on the screen there. Okay, let's get into the actual game. Now if you've seen any warping effects on the actual display, that's just because of the video. It doesn't look like that in real life. And look at that, it even emulates the blur of an original Game Boy screen. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Now of course you can turn off these filters and just have it nice and sharp, you know, as if you were playing on a modern screen. But I do like the way, as default, it comes with this filter that gives you the look of an original Game Boy. It's pretty cool. Oh, unlike my game playing skills. So here we are taking a look at Game Gear. Now Game Gear, as standard, doesn't come with any filters switched on, but they're very easy to switch on if you want them. You just press the menu button on the device, and we can go to native menu here and go straight into the Retro Arch. And from here you can load up all your filters, anything you want. So it's very easy to add filters without you know, much hassle. But here we go, taking a look at Game Gear without any filters switched on, and as you can see, the screen is nice and vibrant. Now this game is a bit of a choppy game, so probably not the best game to show for the powers of Game Gear, but it does give you an idea of what the screen will look like without any filters switched on. Now being a Game Boy SP looking device, you'd expect this to be able to play Game Boy Advance games just fine. And it does. Now I've got this set up with a Game Boy Advance filter on. Also we can see we've got Game Boy Advance written down there. Looks like it's actually part of the device, but it's actually on the screen overlay. And And we've also got some LCD effect overlay to make it look more like a real Game Boy Advance screen. Ignore this up here, that's just a screen protector which is peeling off a little bit, but I'm keeping that on. And let's see if it runs Game Boy Advance without any issues. I already know it does because I've been playing this a lot. And off we go. So yeah, as a replaceable Game Boy Advance SP, it certainly does the job. Flawless. So obviously it goes and plays all the handheld stuff without any effort really. But how about other games? Well, let's take a look into the favorites. Oh, they've all gone into the recents. And you see the stuff that I've been playing on this over the last couple of days. There we go. This is PlayStation game here. This is Heaven's Gate. Now unfortunately, a lot of the PlayStation games that are on this SD card have had the audio ripped out of them so they could fit loads of PlayStation games on there. So the fact that this has no music is not an issue with the emulation. It's just the way they've put the ROM onto the SD cards. You can put your own ROMs on here with all the music and everything, and you'll have no issues whatsoever. But I'm going to show you this anyway, just to give you an idea of how well this game runs. I actually really do like Heaven's Gate. I've got this myself original. Good beat 'em up. There you go. Now something else I want to show you as well. Not only can we play PlayStation games, but also some Sega Saturn. So here's Virtua Fighter 2. Now unfortunately Virtua Fighter 2 runs a little bit slow, but it does run. Take a look at this. However, not all Sega Saturn games are running slow. So if we go out, oops, wrong button. If we go out to this and go back into our favorites, you can see I've been playing Shinobi X or Shin Shinobi then. This one actually does run a lot better. Now unfortunately this is the PAL version of the game. So this game was optimized for PAL machines. And because the emulator is set up for NTSC, it's a little bit weird when your character flashes, he actually disappears. As you can see there. But as you can see, the speed is absolutely perfect. This is the way it should be. So taking a look at the different machines this got built in, we've got all the usual selection here. So, although, what is ONS? No idea what that is. Let's take a look. Oh, that's the operating system. Alright, so let's take a look and see what other stuff we got. What's MPV? Okay, nothing in there, whatever MPV is. Open Beats of Age there, Nintendo DS, N64. So things like Nintendo 64 and so on are not going to run very well. Let's just quickly show you something running on the Nintendo 64. Oh, Ridge Racer 64. Oh, we'll put that on. Here you go, so you got the stuttering there. But with this machine having analog sticks, you can actually control it. Yeah, as you see, it's basically a stutter fest. It has to be expected. The Nintendo 64 is a difficult machine to emulate. Actually, it seems to be working okay now. And that's just the rear view mirror isn't working though. How about PSP? Does PSP work? Well, let's take a look with Darius Burst. So we've got the frame counter up in the corner here on this emulator. That can be switched off if you want to, but we'll keep it on to see how well this runs. And it seems to be holding up at 60 frames per second. Now I must admit, when I first switched this PSP emulator on this device, it was stretching the screen, so you have to go into the actual settings of the emulator and switch off the full screen option, and then you get it displayed in the correct aspect ratio, which you're seeing here. Now here's a game I really like. This is Makai Motor on the WonderSwan. Now quite often WonderSwan emulation does have issues with the audio skipping, so I'm interested to see how it works on this machine. So let's get into it. This is a black and white WonderSwan game, obviously, as you can see. Let's get into it, and also I can see the screen ratio is correct because WonderSwan is a widescreen device. So it's good, it's not stretched. Let's turn the volume up a little bit. And we are not getting the audio skipping. Cool. Now, as well as playing black and white WonderSwan games, obviously this can also play the color WonderSwan games. So let's take a look at one of those running. Okay, this is Rockman Battle Networks, and let's see how it works. It's in English. Yeah, we don't care, get on with it. Yep, no problem. Good stuff. Now, one thing about the WonderSwan is some games actually played in vertical mode. So if you do get a game that plays in vertical mode, no problem, because this device will allow you to switch around the screen in order to play it in horizontal mode. Let me show you, for example. So let's go out of here and we'll put Rainbow Islands on, because that is a vertical game. Okay, so normally it's vertical. So it's just loading up here, and as you can see, it's pointing that way. But by pressing the select button on the actual console, here you go, we'll rotate it around, and now we can play it just normally. Or can we have the controls also be rotated? We'll soon find out. Okay, moment of truth. Have the controls also been switched around? Yes, they have. So you can play this perfectly fine if you have a game that should be played in vertical orientation. Let me just put it back into vertical orientation. Oh yeah, the controls have also switched as well. Alright, so yeah, you can actually play vertically if you want. Although I think that's going to be a little bit awkward. Also comes with a load of other ports on here. See, we got some sort of Metroid port here, Shovel Knight, Super Meat Boy, various other things. So, you know, there's got a lot of stuff on here. Some of the folders are empty, but again, the emulators are there, so all you need to do is add your own ROMs. Now, before we finish, let me just, oh, there's a Mugen there. Let me just take a look at some arcade stuff. And I want to run an arcade game that's usually pretty tricky to emulate on these devices, and that's going to be something from Sega, like a Super Scaler game. So let's see if we got Afterburner on here. Now, Afterburner is going to be a bit of a bummer to get working because it uses analog controls. So I want to see if the analog controls are actually set. And no, we can't show you that because there's no Afterburner. Oh well. Okay, ABC copper, or AB copper I should say. That also uses analog controls, and it's also a Super Scaler game. So let's see how that runs. Has it been configured properly out of the box? Okay, how do we put in a coin? There we go, just the select button. Let's turn the volume up a little bit. Okay, I'm interested to see how this works. Okay, and the analog controls are working. Now where's accelerate? Is it on the shoulder buttons? Yep, it's on one of the shoulder buttons. Okay, so obviously if you're playing this normally, that's not going to be an issue. But because I've got it flat down for the camera, it's going to be a little bit tricky to play here. Where's the jump button? Oh, jump's got to be here somewhere. There we go, found it. Alright, so it looks like they have gone to the effort of actually mapping the controls properly. And it's running this without any issues. And it is a vertical scrolling shooter and the aspect ratio is correct. That's good to see. I figured out where to map the shoot button now. Oh, there it is. Turn it down a little bit. So there we have it. That is the Miyoo Flip. Pretty decent little handheld, which, you know, surprised me. It plays a lot more than I thought it would. Here you can see it's playing Sega Dreamcast, running very smoothly there. Not too bad. Although don't get your hopes up, it doesn't play all Dreamcast games very smoothly. Some of them do skip. But as a device to play the lower end games and some of those 32-bit ports like Wipeout and so on, this is a lovely little device. So I'm going to put a link in the video description down below. Check it out if you want one of these, and as always, keep on gaming and enjoy your games. See ya!